My parents have been funding my brother's entire life while denying me college money, so I secretly recorded and exposed them. My folks have always shown clear favoritism toward my little brother Dylan and never tried to hide which son they gave a damn about. I had to bust my A's at a grocery store to save up for my hit-up Honda, while Dylan got handed a brand new Mazda for his 14th birthday just because. Same story with everything else, like gaming consoles and smartphones and designer clothes, yes, where I got hand-me-downs or nothing. They always told me to man up and stop whining and be the supportive big brother who celebrates his siblings' wins. Now I'm 18, taking a year off before starting at the local community college so I can work full-time at a warehouse. My parents straight up laughed in my face when I asked if they could chip in for my tuition expenses. But then last week, I overheard them in the kitchen discussing how they planned to cover every penny of Dylan's university costs when his time came. I pulled out my phone and hit record while hiding behind the wall, then walked in asking why Dylan gets his education paid for, but I don't. They had no clue I was filming when they said Dylan just needs more support than I do. I pressed them, asking how that made any sense when neither of us had scholarships or anything special going on. Then I kept pushing with more questions about why this double standard had always existed in our house. They got Ma, Dad, and my old man said maybe it was time for me to find my place since they were tired of providing shelter for an ungrateful kid. I reminded him that I fork over more than half the mortgage payment every Monday, Thursday, but they brushed that off. I stormed out, and in my anger, posted the whole recording on TikTok and Facebook with a long rant about how this treatment had been my whole life. Within hours, my parents were banging on my bedroom door with my dad screaming about how I'd humiliated them online for everyone to see. We had another blowout fight before they stomped away, furious. My grandma called me that evening, saying she was disgusted by what she saw, then showed up the next morning with basically the entire extended family. They forced my parents to sit on the living room sofa like scolded children while relatives took turns telling them off. That's when I learned my grandparents had been sending them cash every month for years to help with household bills. Dylan stood there looking lost and confused before eventually taking the family's side and admitting he'd noticed the unfair treatment too. My parents gave me this fake apology through gritted teeth. My grandparents offered to let me move in with them immediately and said they'd stop all financial support to my parents. My dad told me I should have kept family business private and hasn't spoken to me since, while my mom has been bawling nonstop. Now I'm second guessing whether I took things too far by going public. Update. I called my grandparents yesterday and told them I'd take them up on their offer to move in with them. While we talked, I asked about those monthly payments they'd been making to my parents all these years. Apparently, Mom had quit her office job to stay home full time, and they started struggling financially. My grandparents stepped in, sending money each month to help with the mortgage, plus extra that was supposed to go into college savings accounts for both Dylan and me equally. But my parents only ever planned to use those funds for Dylan's education, which is also how they bought him that car. So my grandparents are cutting them off completely now, which means my mom will probably have to go back to work to help Dad make ends meet. I confronted my parents, demanding to know why Dylan was always the golden child, and asked if there was some big secret I should know about. The answer was absolutely nothing at all, not a damn thing. I'm not the product of an affair or even an accident, but they just plain liked Dylan better. I was furious, and we screamed at each other until I couldn't take it anymore and left. My grandparents pulled up Saturday morning with a U-Haul truck ready to help me move. My parents were shocked when we started carrying boxes inside to pack up my stuff. Dad tried blocking our path, so I reminded him how he told me to get out, and that's exactly what I was doing. Mom started crying again, saying Dad only said that because he was mad, and they were counting on my rent payments for Dylan's college fund. I asked if that meant Dylan would never have to pay rent when he turned 18, like I did. Dad admitted that since I was working instead of going straight to college, my money should help pay for my brother's education. They never expected Dylan to work a single day while in school. My grandpa lost it and tore into my father, saying he'd raised him better than this garbage. He said he'd never been more ashamed, and they wouldn't see another dime from him ever again. Then he warned them he'd cut them out of the family completely if they tried any revenge against me for exposing their lies. Dad backed down immediately, and neither parent said another word to me after that. Dylan and I had this awkward goodbye moment where we didn't know what to say to each other. Then I just loaded up my car and waved as I drove away to start fresh. But right as I was settling into my new room at my grandparents' place, Dylan texted me a screenshot of our parents' joint bank account, showing they'd been hiding a secret trust fund worth over $200,000 that was supposed to be split between us. Full story on the channel, link below.